Hi, welcome to this video. My name is Tochi and today we're going to be discussing traits to leave in 2019. They don't have a seat at the table, they are not invited, there is no space for them to occupy, and even if they tried, they'd be denied. And if they try to interact with me in the most minute of ways, it's an immediate shutdown. If that sounds like it's of any interest to you, please keep watching. So I actually have to leave for the airport in less than an hour, but I want to prove to myself that I can record videos under any circumstances, I guess. Although I don't know how exactly that's gonna pan out while I'm traveling, but I'm gonna try anyway. This is the last video I'm probably gonna record in 2019. So let's see if I can get through this whole thing in time. I have about 25 minutes to wrap this up. I've been thinking about this for a while and I thought this would be a great way to end the year, at least for me, because it'd be a recap on things that I've noticed and that I've grown from and that I would rather not revisit. And so I am sharing those with you today. The first one is settling because of fear. Fear has crippled me in so many ways. Settling can feel comfortable and it can feel secure, but I've realized that settling, I'm doing a disservice to myself by doing so, especially when I allow fear to be the reason why I am settling. I've realized also that the worst that can happen is that I'll learn. It could be a painful learning experience, but it's a learning experience nonetheless, and that's really important to me. Fear has also crippled me in the past. The way I feel because I didn't accomplish something I wanted because of fear is stronger than the fear itself. And that's how I feel in hindsight. And knowing that I'm able to look back and be like, wow, if I had, I'd probably feel better than I do now, is what drives me now to push past my fears, because I know that in the long run, I'm gonna thank myself for accomplishing these things that I want. And also, a large amount of the fears that I have aren't even mine. They're fears of other people that have been projected onto me or that I've internalized. And just in general, I'm constantly working on trying to uninternalize other people's projections. Other people's negative projections, I should say. The second is reducing myself for other people's comfort. I have reduced myself for other people's comfort with the hopes that them being more comfortable will make me more comfortable, but that's not what ends up happening. In the end, I'm uncomfortable and I feel almost like I've let myself down, and that's just a feeling that I don't want that to become something I get used to. It's not only that I was diluting my flavor for other people's weak palates, but I was also allowing people who can't handle the richness of my ingredients to share time and space with me, and that's not fair for either of us. It's not only that I was diluting my flavor for other people's weak palates, but I was also allowing people who can't handle the richness of my ingredients to share time and space with me, and that's not fair for either of us. Honestly, when I say it out loud, I realize like that's not okay. If you can't handle the heat, don't go near fire. You don't go to a Bentley showroom to buy a Bentley if you can't afford a Bentley. So if you can't handle me or my heat or my vibrance, my tenacity or my whatever, if you just can't handle me, then it's okay. We don't need to be rubbing shoulders like that. We don't need to be sharing time and space. It's fine. The third is homophobia. I refuse to tolerate people who outwardly express their inability to respect other people. I'm not even saying that people have to agree or like support, but respect should be baseline. It's not even just homophobia, there's a laundry list. If you're xenophobic, if you're racist, if you're sexist, if you're transphobic, we don't need to be sharing time and space like that. And it's okay. I understand that everyone is on their own journey of growth, but if aspects of your journey are navigated through causing other people pain, or if aspects of your journey are prejudice or harmful or intolerant, then yeah, we really don't need to be rubbing shoulders, and that's perfectly fine. 4, disregarding my boundaries. We all know what our personal boundaries are. We all know what our boundaries are, and I have found that at times I stretch my boundaries for the sake of others, kind of like how I would dilute myself in order for other people to be able to handle me. No more. I find that in those moments that I'm stretching my boundaries for other people, especially in moments where the actions aren't reciprocated, I end up losing parts of myself. When we stretch our boundaries in order to contain other people's comfort, we end up unraveling, and that's not okay. At least in the experiences that I've had, when I have stretched my boundaries for people in order to contain them, I end up unraveling, and I can't do that anymore. 5. Jealousy. I believe that jealousy comes from insecurity. Whilst we all have our insecurities, there are certain levels of jealousy that I just refuse to interact with. Yes, this is on a case-by-case basis. I'm speaking of the jealousy that exists in tandem with folks who are manipulative and emotionally juvenile. 6. Ignoring red flags. I know a red flag when I see one, and that's why this needs to be on this list. Because for the past decade, like, if ignoring red flags was a sport, first place, I'm there. Number 1, gold medal after gold medal after gold medal after gold medal. Listening to your intuition and acknowledging the fact that your gut feeling isn't coming out of the blue from nowhere is very important, because it will help you in the long run. It will help you avoid situations you don't want to be in and you don't need to be in. 7. Claiming to be poly so you can justify your cheating. Honestly, just don't claim to be anything you're not to justify behavior that you know is unacceptable. In fact, add cheating to this. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. When I say cheat, I'm not only speaking about in relationships. I mean, like, don't cheat yourself, don't cheat other people, don't cheat within relationships. Don't be dishonest to yourself or to others. Be honest. Number 9, don't perpetuate the I insert action here because it's always been that way narrative. This practice feels so unchallenging and so stagnant. And when water is stagnant for too long, it begins to smell and you don't want to reek. There needs to be movement. Challenge yourself, question, dig, dive, ask, interrogate, probe, unpack, learn, unlearn, all of it. Just do it. Don't settle. Don't be stagnant. Don't use "it's always been that way" as a means to hinder yourself from growth. And finally, number 10, don't not do the work. This past decade has made me grow in ways that I was forced to do the work. And in doing the work on myself and with myself, I recognize the fears that come with doing the work. And I can understand why folks may rather not do the work. There are levels of introspection that I had to go through that felt like I was almost tearing myself apart. And that's painful. The work can be painful. Perspective plays a huge role in the way I'm able to cope with things and means a lot to me. So even though I recognize that doing the work on yourself and with yourself can be painful and tumultuous, I know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And that light at the end of the tunnel is me growing, is me knowing. I'm gonna share an analogy with you that resonates with me very deeply. It really helps me get through the hard times. I see myself as a plethora of vases, and those vases represent the layers that make me who I am. They each have their own unique print, their own unique shape. They were each made, you know, very specially them. They are different sizes, they're different widths, the dimensions are different, the patterns are different, their uses are different. But some of these vases have chips and they have cracks, and some have sharp exposed edges. And whenever I hold onto the vases that have cracks or chips or exposed edges, my hands are left cut and bleeding. Doing the work in these moments would be me allowing myself to let go of the vase and allowing it to crash to the floor. This not only gives my hands the space to heal, but it also gives me the opportunity to pick up the pieces of the vase and create a new mosaic. Healing wounds aren't necessarily pleasant feeling. They itch, they're uncomfortable, you want to pick at them, and you have to force yourself to give them the space to do what they need to do so that you can heal. Letting a vase that presumably took a long time to build and create crash to the floor is also very painful. To have to see that almost can make you feel like, wow, all my hard work's gone to waste, when in reality it's opening up a new opportunity. Also, knowing that you have to go back and pick up the pieces can be hard. Interacting with the broken vase by picking up those pieces individually and needing to recreate something new with them can be a hard process. But when I allow myself to think of the bigger picture and know that, like, okay, I'm using the pieces of this vase to create a new mosaic. Now when I put the mosaic up, I feel like that's a testament to my strength. Like, wow, look what I did with what I had. In the end, it's also worth it because you look at what you've accomplished and you can see your strength. You recognize your strength. You can see your resilience. You're great.
I could never complain. I was walking with a limp, had the cane.
I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna go and catch my flight.